Alright guys, it's time to wrap up the month. What did I watch the last week and a few days of September? We're going to dive right in. My hair is crazy even though I showered and brushed it first thing this morning. It's already expanding. I need a haircut. I'm going to say this every time I record a set of videos. I need a beard trim and I need a haircut. Smack the microphone. Today is October 10th when I'm recording. We're going to talk about a stack of movies. Quite a stack, if I'm not mistaken. 7 or 8 titles? Let's see. 8 titles. We're going to get in the hot trash of the month. The surprise of the month we're going to show in this video, so we'll talk about that when I show it. And all 8 of the movies we're going to talk about, I have sitting next to me on physical media. So, the first movie, I actually left up to you guys. If you do not follow me on Instagram, please do so. As of this post, I'm like 20 subs or 20 followers short of 1,000. So give me a follow on Instagram if you don't. Sometimes I do polls. Sometimes I do little videos of me picking out what we're going to watch out of the hat. But I did a poll. I had a choice of like 5 or 6 movies. People could vote for a day. And this was the movie that won, and it was the movie I watched. It was my dude flick, as I like to call it, where I watch a movie that Bridget has no interest in, or in this case, Bridget had already seen. So I've wanted to watch this for a while. It is an A24 film, and it is directed by Denis Villeneuve, who directed Arrival, which I loved, and that is Enemy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. A lot of people warned me, because I don't like bugs, that I probably don't want to watch this movie. The bugs thing creeped me out, but not as much as I expected it to. So, it's a very tough movie to talk about without getting into spoilers. My biggest worry, like I said, was the spider talk that I heard going into this movie. Jake Gyllenhaal, as always, was fantastic in the film. Basically playing 2 roles in the movie. Like I said, tough to really talk about details of this film without getting into spoilers. Personally, I liked the movie. It didn't blow me away like a lot of people I know rant and rave about this film. I enjoyed it. I appreciate it for what it is, but it's not like a mind-blowing, like, wow, I enjoy it. I gave it a 3 out of 5, but it's not a 5-star movie. It's not something I'm going to watch multiple times over and study. It just wasn't that for me. So, Enemy, I would definitely recommend seeing if you haven't done so already. But yeah, not one that I'm going to watch over and over, but it will stay on the shelf. Next up was a movie that I watched with RJ. He's been wanting to watch it, and I figured why not show it to him. He's a huge fan of the show, as am I. And I had seen this in theaters. As you guys know, I talked about my experience. And that is Impractical Jokers, the movie. So, I love the show. I'm a huge fan of Sal. I really enjoy the show. I really enjoyed the movie when I saw it. I got to see Sal in person when I saw the movie. But, on a rewatch, I didn't enjoy this quite as much as my initial watch. I think I was on a high at the screening from meeting Sal and being excited to watch it. Plus it was like quarantine and stuff was getting ready to happen. It was the end of February. It was my girlfriend's birthday weekend. So there was lots of excitement. And on a rewatch, I didn't find myself laughing as much. There were definitely parts I laughed at still. But this doesn't have a ton of rewatchability, and the biggest bummer about this release is the lack of bonus features. You would think there's all sorts of gag reel stuff and deleted scenes that they didn't put in the movie. None of that is on this disc. It is bare bones. It is just the Blu-ray digital combo pack. No special features. So I enjoy this, and I can see a lot of people don't like this movie, but a lot of those people say they're not fans of the show, so if you're not a fan of the show, I don't think you'd appreciate the movie. Kind of like Jackass. If you're not a fan of Jackass, the TV show, you're not going to like Jackass, the movie. That's my 2 cents there. But Impractical Jokers, the movie, it is a fun watch if you are a fan of the show. Don't know how rewatchable it is. I have it at a 3 out of 5, which is down from my initial watching, initial viewing, I should say. And it'll stay on the shelf because I love the Jokers. And I gotta represent. So, Impractical Jokers, the movie, 3 out of 5. Then we had RJ for an extended period of time. We didn't have him our typical weekend. So we had him some extra days, and I've been wanting to rewatch these movies. RJ had only seen the last one. I had never seen the second one, which we'll get to in a moment. But wanted to revisit these to see maybe... I didn't care for the first movie when I saw it. I wanted to dive back in, going with an open mind, and give these movies a watch. And they are the Thor films. And the first one, of course, is Thor, which we watched on 4K, as you guys can see. And I had only seen this movie once before when it first came to home media on Blu-ray. And I was not a fan of the movie then. And I liked it, but I still don't think I am a fan of this film. I think that it is definitely towards the very bottom tier of Marvel movies. Probably in my bottom 5. For sure. In my bottom 5, actually, the more I think of it. So, I love Thor Ragnarok, to jump ahead a little, because of the humor and the different characters in this movie. I don't find this movie to be very funny. I know some people think it's funny and a really good movie and shows Thor's humor. Besides 2 or 3 lines that Thor has, his character is not funny, in my opinion, in this movie. I think that Kat Dennings is probably my favorite part of this movie. I don't like the whole love story with him and Natalie Portman. I know that's an important thing, and it's going to set up the Thor 4 film. But like I said, this is in my bottom 5. I give it a 3 out of 5, which shows you how good the Marvel movies are to me compared to DC movies, because a 3 out of 5 is in my bottom 5 of the Marvel films, where a 3 out of 5 would probably be right in the middle for DC movies for me. So, Thor, 3 out of 5. Glad to revisit it. And then, guys, I watched my last MCU movie that I needed to watch to see all the MCU movies. And I avoided it because of how much I disliked Thor. I know this movie has become a lot more important since Endgame and Infinity War has been released. And I figured I needed to check it out. I needed to see, because I've heard mixed things, guys. And that is Thor: The Dark World on 4K. And this is probably my least favorite Marvel film of all of them. I found it to be boring. I didn't think it was fun at all. Once again, Kat Dennings is the highlight of the movie for me. I wasn't a fan. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. I'm trying to see what else I have written. Yeah, very little sense of humor in the film. Was quite bored. I hated the love story between Thor and Jane in this movie. I was let down. I've watched it now, but no, I said don't need to watch it anytime soon, if ever, again. So, Thor: Dark World, kind of what I expected, but at least I can say I've watched it now. I've seen all the MCU movies. Like I said, this is probably my least favorite of the MCU films. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. Definitely the bottom of the barrel for me. And then the franchise takes a whole new turn, and we got, and this is on Blu-ray, but if you guys have watched a future previous video, you'll know I'll probably be selling this edition because I might have the 4K now. Spoiler alert? Or you already saw it and it's not spoiler alert. Thor Ragnarok, this being the cool Target book exclusive. I love this movie. It is entertaining. It is full of action. It is hilarious. Just a very fun movie. The J card on this is so annoying. This movie is so much fun. You have Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, who's great. You have Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster, who's amazing. You have Hulk, Mark Ruffalo's in this movie. Loki's character is good in this movie. Cate Blanchett is an excellent villain in this film, in my opinion. And then the highlight of the movie for me is Korg, voiced by Taika Waititi. I need a Thor and Korg meet Guardians of the Galaxy film. Think about it. Korg and Drax talking, Rocket Raccoon interacting with Thor and Korg. It would be so much fun to have those two on a ship in space with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's make it happen, Marvel. Korg and Thor meet the Guardians of the Galaxy. I love this film. This is probably, oh man, is this top 5? This might be top 5 MCU for me. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. It's amazing how the franchise can go from this and Thor being at the bottom to this and Thor being all the way towards the top. And one of my favorite parts of Infinity War Endgame, the big Thorbowski, I just really, really enjoy it. And like I said, I give this a 4.5 out of 5. I love Thor Ragnarok. Next up, if you guys watched the in a previous video, I talked about the next 3 movies that I'm going to talk about. They were all sent to me by studios to review. I told you I would get more into details about the movies. So here we go. The first one up is The Shadow of Violence, which was sent to me by Lionsgate Home Entertainment, starring Barry Keoghan and Cosmo Jarvis. This film was released under the title Calm with Horses overseas, and then in the US it was The Shadow of Violence. This is an MOD DVD that was released. So, like I said, the reason this caught my eye is because of Barry Keoghan, who is mesmerizing and polarizing in Dunkirk, but especially The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which I think is fantastic. He was also in American Animals, and apparently in the next year or two, he'll be in Eternals, he'll be in The Green Knight, which is an A24 film, and he'll be in The Batman. So this face, you're going to see it a lot, and he is fantastic in everything I've seen him in. And this movie was basically a look behind a drug dealer gang's muscle, who's this guy here. His name is Arm in the film. His character's name is Arm. He's going through some personal life struggles as well as work struggles, if you would. And he's forced into making a decision to do something that he's never done before. He has a child, and he hardly spends time with his child. He's hardly in his child's life. His child has learning disabilities. The mother wants to try to get him better help. And just fantastic throughout. Cosmo Jarvis is fantastic in this film. It's a very good film. It's very brutal in parts. But just an enjoyable watch. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely highly recommend checking it out. Yeah, but it's very, very good. So, next up was also sent to me by Lionsgate, and this is an A24 film called First Cow. So, I've been trying to catch up on my A24 movies as I can. As you guys know, I watched Enemy recently. I wanted to check out First Cow. And this is a movie that's basically a historical drama that takes place in the 1820s. It is about a guy who's known as Cookie, who's a chef traveling with fur trappers in Oregon. And he runs into a character whose name is King Lu, who is Chinese, an immigrant who's wanted for a murder. And they basically form a friendship, and I'm not going to get into how that happens, but they form a friendship and come up with a business idea to help them achieve their goals. And the movie's a very slow burn. The first 45 minutes are very, very slow, tediously slow. But the story ramps up from there and definitely becomes more enjoyable in the second half. The cinematography is beautiful. Excuse me. The two lead performances are fantastic. And the movie just doesn't offer something that's like a go back and rewatch kind of thing. It's definitely, in my opinion, like a one-time viewing situation. But I think some people will really like this. If you're an A24 snob, I think you'll enjoy this, but not going to be for everybody. It's funny, they advertise, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, but it's not really a massive one. They advertise, what's her name? Oh, why can't I think of the actress's name? There's an actress whose name I recognize. Aaliyah Shawkat, or Ali Shawkat, is the top billed actress on the movie on IMDb. And she is in the first 5 minutes of the film. That's it. It sets up the rest of the movie because it takes place in modern times, the first 5 minutes, and then it goes back to the 1820s for the rest of the film. So that threw me off a bit, but I give it a 2.5 out of 5. First Cal. And last but not least, guys, I mentioned it in the beginning of this video that we were going to get into Surprise of the Month as the last movie we watched in September. It was sent over by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, and it is Valley Girl, starring Jessica Rothe and Jack Whitehouse, I think is his name. Josh Whitehouse. I was close. What a last name, Whitehouse. Anyway, so Valley Girl, which is a remake of the 1983 film starring Nicolas Cage, which we watched earlier this year. I really enjoyed. It was my first time seeing it. The story is very similar to the original. However, this time it is a musical. So there's song and dance and a ton of 80s music that's very well done. And it's a very fun watch. I really, really enjoyed this one. It was very fun to sit through. Very catchy songs. Great performances. Jessica Roth's fantastic. It also has Mae Whitman. Man, my brain is crap today. Mae Whitman, Judy Greer, cameos from the original Valley Girl. Jessica Rothe, who's been in Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, is very good in this movie as the lead. It's a fun movie, and there's another cameo in this movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's another Valley Girl of sorts who makes an appearance, and the story is kind of told through her eyes, so check it out to see who I'm talking about. But I enjoyed this. It's not a 5-star film, but I give it a 3 out of 5, and I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed this one. So, Valley Girl. And so that is the Surprise of the Month and the Hot Trash of the Month, which I no longer own physically. Somebody bought it on eBay. I apologize for that in advance. It is the swing of things. As you guys know, I titled the video that that was featured on. I watched one of the worst movies of my life. I stand by that. That movie was absolute garbage. A lot of you guys seem to enjoy my review where I go off on a tangent how much I disliked it. But yeah, swing of things. Awful. Please don't waste your time. Don't watch it. A lot of you guys were like, I need to see it now that you talked about how bad it is. You don't. Watch something else less bad. Please. It is awful. Don't watch it. I watched it so you guys didn't have to. So thank you guys as always for watching this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also subscribe if you don't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what have you guys been watching. Also check out the description box where you can find links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd where I rate and review all the movies I watch, Blu-ray.com profile, Amazon wishlist, eBay page, email address, P.O. box, all can be found down below in the description. That is it, guys. So as always, until next time, who's down to movie?